The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Today is Friday, October 22nd, 2021. If all the world is a stage, then American politics is kabuki theater. Let's talk about the games that are being played around us every single day. We begin with On the Clock. As always on Fridays, I am joined by Pastor Anthony Galloway. I consider him to be a historian and a podcaster, a pastor, a prolific philosopher who brings insight to us on Friday mornings. Brother Galloway, Pastor Galloway, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me again, as always.
The pleasure is genuinely ours. I'm looking at the conversation in this country, particularly as it pertains to getting voting rights secured, our Senate, our leadership, the people who fill our temples, and their responsibility to lead during times of crises, as well as to set a trajectory for society. I'm not feeling really confident about their capability facilitating that role, especially because it seems as though we've come to an impasse. It seems as though we're now hinging the trajectory of this entire country on the whims of a handful of senators who have decided to make this moment about them. One, namely in particular, Joe Manchin, who stands at the intersection of progress and, quite honestly, regress, going backwards. He has put himself in a position of being the not the official emperor, but certainly the emperor with no clothes on, and we can observe his lack of fidelity towards the people that he was elected to represent in West Virginia and the people across this country. Now, we've been covering it this week. He's considered, or at least it was reported, that he was going to leave the Democratic Party. And now he has come out and decided that, well, yeah, I did discuss it. At first, he denied it, said, no, I wasn't going to leave the Democratic Party. That's BS. That's BS. And then the very next day, he's discussing leaving the Democratic Party. Anthony, I don't have any commitment to the Democratic Party beyond what they do for us lately. However, at this intersection of the Democratic Party being able to get something done for us right now, we see people like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema who have presented themselves to be the willing villain of this particular narrative. What are your thoughts?
Well, one of the important pieces to look at here is that this is a powerful position. The fact that we're in deadlock space, I can then take the maverick role. This is the first time we've seen it. Senator McCain, for example, had a maverick status and sailed that into power and position in the GOP as well. So just looking at historical example, if I can place myself contradictory, let's remember that even Governor George Wallace, who tanked the removal of the filibuster, did so basically running against the counter because he knows that it plays in people's circles and social space. And so, coming out and saying it, that's not true, and then coming out and saying it is true. Again, it's keeping attention, and it's a marketing dream. Right. And so, and it only can happen if we're in deadlock. I also want to put onto the table that there was a lot of things put forward in governmental systems, not just here, but across the world, that try to prevent this deadlock situation, because then I can use the tyranny of the minority, so to speak, to guide where things go, as opposed to forcing consensus. And so, these are some of the elements that are at play here, and they're not new. They're cyclical, and we've seen them in other places.
Right. And because they're cyclical, Brother Anthony, I'm like, they know exactly what's going on. A lot of times we feel like if we could just explain it to the powerful, if we could just help them understand their misconceptions or their fallacies, and the joke is on us, they know full well what's going on. Here's a clip of MSNBC's Ari Melber as he unpacks Joe Manchin's now confession that, yeah, he offered to leave the Democratic Party because he didn't want to be seen as an embarrassment to the Democratic Party. Let's look at this bit of kabuki theater being unpacked by Ari Melber.
Joe Manchin. He's got a new response to this report that he was at least discussing potentially leaving the Democratic Party partially. This is amidst the high-profile and quite significant fight with progressives over the size of any Biden spending package, which is the biggest thing left on the Democrats' to-do list for the year. Now, today, the senator is conceding that in a way, part of what was reported appears to be true. In his words, he did discuss a partial exit from the Democratic Party, although he's putting it quite differently. And he's not saying today that it was a leverage move with the spending battle.
Senator, have you ever had a plan to switch parties? Have you ever?
No, anything, I'll be very honest with you, anything that was ever said, that we've ever talked about, if I'm an embarrassment to my Democrat colleagues, my caucus, the president, me being a moderate centrist Democrat, if that causes you a problem, let me know, and I'd switch to be an independent, but I'd still be caucusing with Democrats. That's the only thing that was ever discussed. No one accepted that, and I just said, I'll make that offer if you need it.
So there was a discussion of a potential offer. It may sound like parsing, but what's interesting here is the conservative senator is effectively admitting that they did discuss the hypothetical of leaving the party, but he's not confirming what was core to the Biden part of this story, that somehow this was his trump card, so to speak, with the spending clash, and saying he'd only do it to, quote unquote, help the party. Whatever you think of that, it does sound a little different from the way he categorically denied this story yesterday.
I can't control rumors, and it's bull. That's it. It's bull. Bull spelled with a B-U-L-L capital B.
The absurdity of it all, Brother Galloway, Pastor Galloway, because, I mean, we could see this coming a mile away. Anyone who understood politics, understood cycles of politics, we knew that this was going to be played as a trump card, almost as a bluff to scare Democrats off of pressuring him. What are your thoughts about it?
Well, I think what stands out too is looking at what's happening locally, right? So if I stand out to say that if I want to have the case or the marketing persona that I'm not guided by any group, because right now what is playing well in many different places across political lines, across racial lines, across many different lines is not being beholden to any group and being able to chart your own quote unquote path, right? And that has been, if you look at some of the campaigns, not just for Joe Manchin, but campaigns on the margins in many different places across the country right now, a lot of folks are trying to find this way. There's some who are jumping all in, right? And I know we'll talk a little bit about that later, but there is a pathway that folks have used in the past, and it's not new. It's been, if you go back, and you can even Google search the campaign ads, and go look at different campaigns, ads, and slogans over history. It's fascinating to see how many you see showing up in a cyclical pattern, taking this quote unquote middle road. I'm not beholden to this party. I'm not beholden to this thing, and trying to sail that into a way of saying, this is why you should choose me, especially when we're in deadlock spaces. There's a very interesting overlap between that. I think that's what's happening here. I think this is part of the campaign talking points. Look, I'm independent. I don't, you can trust me to think for me and not think along any coalition, because I'm either too scared to back the line of that coalition, I'm trying to run away from it, or I'm not in that group. And so this is another pathway to power. The question becomes, and this is for anybody running for political power. Let me just say it like it is. If I can say, if I join with the coalition, does Joe Manchin's name come up as often? That's one of the wonderings that I have. If I go along with the party group, do I stand out at all? I don't know that there's a whole lot to stand out unless I'm in this kind of independent position fight piece that elevates me in the Google searches, that elevates me in the hits on social media.
That's right. So
he might be just playing the algorithm.
Because going in this case, going along with the Democratic Party, along with Joe Biden's plan, Build Back Better, I mean, it actually would do some good for the people. But in his case, going along with this plan that could do good for the people doesn't allow him to stand out. And so he has to take the necessary position of contrarian along with Kirsten Sinema, because it allows them to get the kind of notoriety that they've been longing for all their lives, is kind of what I'm hearing.
I'm offering that as a possibility, in addition to, having home constituency, in addition to, there's quite a few ways to look at it. And so being able to see which one lines up in the end is going to be very interesting.
Fascinating. I want to bring in another topic here that I'd like to get your insight on, and it's really how the religious right echo chamber. There's a really prolific echo chamber on that side of the equation, with not just the religious side of conservatism, but just conservatism in general. They have a fascinating funnel that goes all the way from the top of Fox News all the way down to thousands of small channels that promote particular messaging that facilitates a political agenda, to be sure. I want to talk specifically about a radical right-wing commentator by the name of Josh Bernstein, who declares that the Democratic Party is not a legitimate party, but is actually a terrorist organization, and that there is no different. They are no different than ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, and the Nazis, and says that these people are purebred evil, satanic communists. There's a lot there to unpack. Let's listen to this demagoguery.
You're not a legitimate party. You're a terrorist organization. That's what the Democrats are. And I've said it numerous times. I'll say it on this live stream. I'll say it 100,000 more times in the future. The Democrats are a terrorist organization. They are no different than ISIS. They are no different than Al-Qaeda. They are no different than Boko Haram. They are no different than Hamas. They are no different than Hezbollah. They are no different than North Korea. They are no different than the old Nazis. They are no different than the communists, because that's what they are. They're no different than the CCP. These people are purebred evil satanic communists, and they want to rule over us, and it's not going to happen. It is never going to happen.
You know, Pastor Galloway, you know, we're talking about the Democratic Party who wants 3.5 trillion in infrastructure spending versus 2 trillion in infrastructure spending. I'm not sure I'm getting the logical leap to fascism.
And I have quite a few friends who are part of the GOP locally here in Minnesota, and they actually showed me this first before I saw us coming to somebody here, and they wanted to make sure that I knew that that they weren't on this track, and there's a real big head rubbing and just kind of like that sigh when somebody in your family does something real out of pocket, and you're just like, oh. But I want to call attention to notice the fact that he this repetitive statement, and this is the theme that I want to pull out for folks, right? They are this, they are that, they are this. Very little, not very little. There is no like, and because of X, Y, and Z, because the argument doesn't hold weight or water when you actually start getting into what is the basis for your argument, right? You can try to infer something. So when he started talking about they want to rule over you, that lines up a little bit with some of the angst or anxiety around, you know, size of government, which, you know, is a legitimate debate, right? We've left that, unfortunately, a long time ago because we've left logic in actual political, you know, discourse a long time ago. So, you know, it's a problem. There's also this whistle under here, right? I'm not just saying this to try to make it stand out and make a point, right? I'm trying to give talking points for the fervor, right? And let's think about this. If I want to, as some of the groups that he was referencing, radicalize or put or take the extremist approach to something, what do I got to do? I have to isolate you. I have to control kind of where you're getting your information and get you thinking a certain particular way. And then I've got to make sure that you continue to have reinforcing talking points that back up this thing that radicalizes you into something that's extreme. And often it's done by looking at the logical thing and saying that is all the evil things that I'm actually demonstrating and actually trying to get you to go along with. And so there's a particular piece of concern, particularly for the young folks in the community that I serve. They are susceptible to this kind of rhetoric. I don't need to worry about logic because all I have to do is keep repeating what this person is saying. And it is a tactic that we have seen before, and we've seen it in a radicalization of actual terrorist groups. And so I think it's really interesting to see that play out in just his language.
It's rare. It's the rarest of occasion that I don't think I've ever had something to follow up as a pushback. The only pushback I have for you is this is an actual terrorist group, right? From my best estimation, if you look at what this is like the clarion call for terrorist organizations, the folks who went up the steps on January 6th, the Proud Boys who are out in the streets, right? And I often wonder, and it's not so much as to point out that distinction, but I often wonder how many people don't realize that, there's a full-blown right-wing revolution happening around us. I mean, they've got their prophets, they've got their, they've got their foot soldiers, they've got their political prisoners now who are being, accosted by the FBI and treated poorly. I mean, they've got an entire infrastructure over there that, in their minds, they wake up and they listen to this type of stuff. They wake up and they honestly feel like they're in a full-blown right-wing revolution.
Well, there's some really important scholars, and point well taken, right? Look at the fruits of what comes out of that. Some of the same exact words that he was using were used by the folks in the B-roll footage of the people that were gathered there on January 6th. So that's right. That point is well taken. I mean, looking at the fruit of their labor. One of the things that comes out, Howard Takaki, who's a scholar who wrote a book called A Different Mirror, but Edward Bonilla Silva's Racism Without Racists, both of those books specifically, just because I've read them recently, talk about this pattern of when playing fields begin to level, or I'm forced to compete without the advantage, the racialized advantage that I may have had in the past as much, that has been used historically to sail into this fear. Right. Some people call it the Browning theory. If you just look at a market space, there's the stomach for this kind of destructive rhetoric is going away. The market is changing on folks, and I can either grow and try to be more competitive in that market, or I can try to examine the fear of loss. We saw this very same thing play out in the Civil War, because there needed to be this galvanizing of the South. Folks don't often talk about that. It wasn't, the South had to galvanize many folks who at one point saw that this slavery system was actually depressing poor white folks in the South economically. So they had to figure out a way to stoke some fears in order to get folks to come on board, to have the coalition that needed to be there. We don't often talk about that. This really smells a lot very similar to some of that thematic rhetoric that tries to stoke that fear in order to build type of coalition. So your point's well taken, and it's making me think about that pattern.
And actually now digging in even deeper into it, no, you're absolutely right. How do you convince people to go fight to their death on behalf of a system that is detrimental to them in the first place, right? It's the same exact thing that's happening right now, Pastor Galloway. You have people who are arguing at the top of their lungs for the opportunity to be destroyed by COVID-19, right? Or for the opportunity for the rich to get richer, and for them who are the poor to get poorer. Right. Some of these same people, I'm not saying this to attack them, but, if you walk through Walmart at 5 o'clock in the morning, you're going to see a lot of hardworking white conservatives in their 50s and 60s. And I can understand their anger, because I'd be pissed off, too, if I should be retired, but I'm working at Walmart. But the masterpiece, the master stroke, the invisible hand behind all this is exactly what you're saying, is a concerted effort to get people to operate against their own best interests, even unto death, Pastor Galloway, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, and keep in mind, and I keep wanting to stress this, right? This is something that isn't just, right now we're seeing it come out of this conservative space, but this is something that also was at play in the 90s with the Clinton administration in the super predator conversation. It's a very similar thing, and that one was tied to getting certain legislation over to try to win over and woo folks, politically, and they walked right into the same rhetoric process. And so I just want to remind folks that there's a cyclical process here that I don't want to get us too far on, because there's healthy critiques of everybody. I mean, even when we get into the conversation about Christopher Columbus, and Indigenous Peoples Day, it's huge here in Minnesota because we actually declared Indigenous Peoples Day, but the president issued a proclamation honoring Christopher Columbus Day. at the same time. And so I just want to make sure that we don't let that off. We hold accountability across the board.
And point well taken, right? And I appreciate that, because this is the space for that. Because if truth be told, the problem is holistic. It's both wings of the same bird, right? To me, it is the complicity of the Democratic Party as we go headlong into this fascistic revolution, because you can't tell me that they don't have advisors at the highest level of this government advising Joe Biden about exactly what's happening around us, about the fascists that are in the streets, about the fact that Joe Manchin is playing the exact same game that was played 30 years ago, 20 years ago, every cycle, right? They know what's going on, and yet here we are with the same exact scenario where they're playing as if, oh my goodness, we don't know possibly how to overcome the filibuster. So point well taken, my brother. Get the last word on that, and I have one more thing that I want us to look at before we jump over and take a quick break. Your thoughts to close out that bit.
Well, just that I want to make sure that we can tie this directly. We have direct evidence to the point that you brought up about the fruits of this labor. Dylan Roof, AME Church, right? Denmark VC's old church. Radicalizing in terms of this rhetoric, but also on the ground here during the demonstrations. And I say demonstrations very specifically because there's multiple things going on here in Minnesota after George Floyd was murdered. We absolutely saw the presence of not just fascists, but Nazi presence. And we also saw the presence of white supremacists who were causing safety concerns for the folks who were organizing demonstrations directly. Not rhetorical, not hypothetical, actual encounters on the ground. And so I want to be clear that there's direct connection. Even the FBI's watch list is backing that data up now that we actually have access to the increase of that data with the new administration. So I want to make sure that folks see that there's a direct line to actual acts, and I think that can't be underscored enough.
Absolutely, especially when you have demagogues out there who are able to enumerate. There's one thing that you said that I want to pull out before we move on is in that video clip that we listened to by Bernstein is how he enumerated his accusations. And he gave them talking points, and he almost gave it to them in a rhythmic pattern that you would get from a seasoned preacher. And it becomes this kind of rhetorical weapon that now can be repeated in the minds of people who would go out and do this kind of violence. Because, in their minds now, they have a spiritual license because they heard their pastor say that these people are godless communists, right? That these people are no better than ISIS, that these people are no better than Boko Haram. And you give them that rhythm and that pattern, and that's what they listen to in their head as they carry out their acts of terrorism.
Absolutely. Destructive meditation.
Destructive meditation. There's a simple word. There's a simple phrase for everything. Wow. Man, that's exactly what it is. All right. One last clip. Let's look at something else that's destructive, because you don't accomplish this type of this monstrosity of propaganda without abuse. And I want us to take a look at an advertisement, an email that went out from the National Republican Congressional Committee. And it is the height of abuse. I want to pull it on the screen so that I can read it for you. And it says, alert, you are a traitor. Now, this was sent out to Donald Trump supporters. You are a traitor. You abandoned Trump. We were told you were a tried and true lifelong patriot. But when Trump said he'd run for president if we took back the House from Nancy Pelosi, you did nothing. Was Trump wrong about you? And it gets even worse. This is your final chance to prove your loyalty or be branded a deserter. We're giving you one final chance to stand with Trump. You only have 17 minutes. This is a text that was sent out to Donald Trump supporters with a big flashing red alert. This is to me the height of gaslighting and abuse. Pastor Galloway, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm in full agreement. I mean, what do you say to that? Like, it's right there. It's right there in front of you, and again, we see this happen in other spaces without those words, right? In some cases, this is out in front of you and you can see it. right? In other ways, this same process has happened just by stopping to return calls, stopping to allow party funds to go to you for your campaign, you're not supporting shunning. We've seen that happen in nice ways. And so I want to be clear that this isn't new. This loyalty
Pastor Galloway ain't
test
gonna let
thing isn't new.
nobody, he's not gonna let anybody off the hook. Okay, come on, man.
There's no chill. We got to look at ourselves, right? So I just want to be clear about that. At the same time, words have power. And so, to be able to see this is definitely a call for what's been out there. It's also a pivot to be able to blame the lack of success, not on your inability to compete. Again, going back to that Browning theory, that wow. pattern over there. I don't have to. I can't win by competing. I can't win by having a good message. I can't win on that side. So I have to do what? I have to do what Europe did to China, and that is try to diminish them in the world stage. China had been trading in the Silk Road for thousands of years. Europe did not have goods to come and really compete with that trade route for a while. So they had to compete in a political sense. They had to diminish and say that this is opinion. We're better traders. We're less greedy. We're all these different things to try to get to play in that area. That same process is happening here. I can't compete in all of the normal ways. So I have to compete in this cult of destruction and fear because I can't acknowledge the fact that I'm actually on the decline. And I think this is a part of that. And I need us to know that pattern, because that pattern can be played out regardless of political party. For any place where there's dominance, this can be played out. I just want folks to be able to see the pattern regardless of whose hands it's in.
Come on, listen, that's why my God, today, I've got nothing additional to add to that. I just want to say I'm a fan of yours, Pastor Galloway, because one thing I love for sure is that we hold everyone accountable here. And while these type of examples give us like a case study, this is almost atypical kind of a case study of political abuse. But the real abuse that happens every single day is exactly what you said. It's like the stalking of people who do something that you don't want done. I'm thinking of Nina Turner in Ohio, the political stalking of her. Like they didn't send out a message like this to attack her, but they certainly did everything they needed to try to destroy her in Cleveland, in Ohio's 11th district. So I appreciate you always never apologize, contextualize it, because there's a mirror that needs to be shined on our side of the equation every single day as well.
Well, and here's one of the through lines that becomes problematic. So in St. Paul, we have full disclosure, right? One of my family members is the mayor of St. Paul, and he's the first Black mayor of St. Paul, and he comes in there from a progressive side of space, and it's a powerful space. And then there's also folks who have issues and want to bring up and compete with those issues. And they'll challenge him, and they'll challenge the direction of the city in different ways. Now, this should be normal. This should be a part of our everyday life. And it's funny that my brother will often say, I'll be like, oh, so, someone's coming at you. He's like, I need that we have to be having these conversations to establish a direction. The problem is when you have things like the text message you saw there, the fear-based politicization, or the quiet ostracization of folks if they don't agree with a certain way. When we're in that space, we can't have the actual debate that says, well, let's critique and call things out, and then have to react and modify or make legislation. But that normal process can't function. That normal health of a system can't do what it needs to do. And so we try to suppress the detractors as opposed to competing on the technique and letting the society play it out. This interrupts that democratic process. And so, we need to be able to see these patterns, because this is what takes the oxygen away from healthy debate and dialogue that actually makes policy and legislation better, right? But be able to tweak something and somebody says, hey, this is going to have this negative impact, and they raise it loud and clear, and they say, all right, how do we mitigate that impact? And then shape the policy differently. Instead, everything is high stakes, hit or miss, one time, one opportunity to win or not. And that does not make for the kind of things that actually allow us to have the policy we need. And so I think these patterns are important to understand so that we can get back to something that does that makes things better. What's the fruit? You
can tell a tree by the fruit it bears. I know that much. Pastor Galloway, can you hang out for a few more minutes? I want
Yes,
us to
absolutely.
delve headlong into that Friday gut bucket of existentialism, because you really, there's some questions. There's some questions that I need to talk to a pastor about. So I need everyone to stick around. When we come back, we're going to dig into this a little bit deeper in the Benjamin Dixon Show. But for now, we're on the clock. So stick around for more on the Benjamin Dixon Show.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Friday, October 22nd, 2021. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm joined by Pastor Anthony Galloway, who has been vibing in the background with me. How you doing, brother? How you doing this morning?
I'm too blessed to be stressed. I'll tell you that much.
I hear that. We're going to be joined momentarily by none other than DJ Exclusive, who is doing his thing on the ones and twos. Listen, Pastor Galloway, there's some things that I've been thinking about, and I like for you. I mean, we have a lot of clips, but I think you and I can kind of skip over the clips and kind of get to the essential question that's kind of bugging me about a lot of things that I see around us. Let me start here. Why is it that it seems as though a lot of people are, how is it that we cannot see what's happening around us in terms of the scale and the scope of COVID-19, the number of people who have died, as well as the ridiculousness of our leaders? It's almost as if it's almost like Nero fiddling while Rome burned. And to me, it's almost of biblical proportions in terms of the absurdity around us. Do you ever get that feeling as you just wake up and read the news? I told you we're going for it.
So, man, you did take me there, but that's all right because you helped finalize my sermon last time we went here, so it's good.
You got to tell us about that when you get a chance.
Absolutely. I was in New York just this past week working with a college who's doing some critical discourse around change and consciousness raising. And I was talking to a family community therapist who's doing some work out there. And one of the things she was talking about is she's running into folks who are having a hard time seeing the water that they're swimming in. You know, if you've been swimming in an ocean of something for a while, it's hard to see the water around you sometimes, and getting folks to pull back and see that. I'll give a couple of examples of that. In the state of Minnesota, for example, while we have really difficult and specific COVID issues, particularly in rural areas and areas where unvaccinated folks are stressing resources to the point of, concern, we still, as a state, are on track to be really good in terms of our overall vaccination rates. And so your day-to-day experience just doesn't look the same as it does in areas where folks are dying in much more visible ways. At the same time, for me as a pastor doing hospice rotations for folks who have died of COVID and are dying of COVID, to have seen it firsthand, even the Counter Stories podcast that I do with several other folks of color in our area, one of our host members' mother and then uncle passed away from COVID. So in addition to our own family members that have done it. So when you have that proximity, it's a different view. And so one of the questions and wonderings that I have is, depending on the circles we talk to, we may be talking to folks who are not experiencing the firsthand. And so the dial you may move back from the dial a little bit, just because of that reason. That's just one example. Another one is, when it gets to you. Think about when it gets to you. So in the beginning of the pandemic, when higher population areas were trying to deal with it, folks that are places that are a lot more spread out with a lot lower populations, your Dakotas, your Wyomings and all that, were not having the same issue because they're already spread out. Social distancing is kind of baked into the population, right? Which still has more congressional and Senate representation than places with way more people, but that's a different conversation. it took a while. It was a lag before it got to those places, but it still got there and it hit hard. So I think there's some ways like that have us take the pulse off the dial, back away from the dial a little bit, and then political winds and talking points start going back and forth around that. The other thing I want to bring up here, though, is if there's already distrust in the system, spurred by all the things going on around, there's a perfect storm piece that's happening here. So you got folks who have a healthy distrust, and that distrust is outpacing the facts, outpacing the data, outpacing some of our choicing. And that is also at an issue here that I'm running into just in terms of trying to get information out. I still got people who believe that they'll get sterilized by the vaccine. I still have people that believe that your DNA will change. I even have folks who I've counseled and say, look, natural immunity is just fine. Every piece of data tells us that natural immunity is not. You had a doctor in here. It does not hold up in the way that vaccines do, because we don't understand how vaccines actually work. So, and yet these same group of folks will absolutely go in for a vaccine for chickenpox, polio, all these other things. And so those are some of the things that are complicating the work, even where I'm at.
Brother, there's something that you said there that, what was the solution? Because I think she described it perfectly. People can't see the water that they're swimming in. And I think that's the perfect description for this moment, because I really look at, like, it's almost Shakespearean in terms of how ridiculous our leaders are being. Like, they're drunk with folly in our temples, lying to us, with a smile on their face. And considering the ramifications, like, when history is written about this, if we're lucky enough to have a future, if we're not too far from 1 million deaths. This is not an inconsequential moment. So what was her solution for people who are swimming in an ocean and can't see the water that's around them?
Well, the solutions are varied in their myriad. All right. So one of the things that she talks about on a personal level is one, taking folks into an experience that's not your own. Right. So in one area, I may not see COVID as an issue with what it is. I had the same issue with my neighbor, right? My neighbor across the alley had not had any connection to any of the negative outcomes that COVID was presenting until we had a conversation, and I was able to tell him about the people in my family, in my community that have died and how it was. It was a no-brainer. And this is a pretty conservative dude, right? And we could meet and cook together and still have conversations, because he hasn't bought into the cultural cult defense mechanisms that our political cooptation of culture has done to us. And so we can have a dialogue that exchanges information and puts him in experience. That's one of the areas, right? But there's so many others, right? Like being able to say, to start with where folks are. How have you been socialized? What is real to you? So that can take you out of defense mechanism, but that's just good therapy. So it
sounds like it's the answer to this then is like 101, almost save who you can. I mean, because to be honest with you, you're absolutely right. If you get a chance to actually speak to people outside of their political echo chambers, you actually do stand a chance of being able to connect with them. But it's like our system of this country specifically is perfectly designed to take critical issues that we need to be serious about, but we throw our politics on it, and then all of a sudden we're completely and totally paralyzed and incapable of making any process. But it's like the trajectory that they chose to paralyze our country around is a trajectory of destruction. It's like, can nobody see that the decisions being made by our leaders are going to destroy us?
And so, one of the things I love, and Saleha, shout out to you if you're watching this. She's out of New York, and she does some amazing work, and I've enjoyed having these conversations. One of the things that comes out is the level and the scale that we're talking about. So person to person, there's some room. We can find some things in there. But then you got to zoom out, because we socially as groups still function according to some of these psychological patterns. And so when you talk about, choosing self-destruction, I find this in the personal level. How many times have I witnessed to you who have chosen destruction, or folks who chose to stay in relationships that are destructive when they have an out. There are reasons for that, and we feel this not just on a personal level, but we also do it on a group level. And I think that's important to understand.
Man, you stay, I want to bring DJ Exclusive in the conversation. Man, you stay calling us on our own carpet, because I sure ate that Whataburger last night. I mean, that's my destructive behavior of my own, right? We all have patterns. Now, mine might not get me to the grave as quickly as COVID-19, but there's still destructive patterns that all of us have. So I guess the question then is, how do we navigate our propensity to fall for these things that so easily beset us, Pastor?
Nice. I like how you did that there. So one of the things that you hear over and over again from folks who are actually seeking to solution, right? And I think for some of the clips that you talked, the demagoguery that you put on are demonstrations of folks who aren't seeking solution, right? And so when I get into relationship with folks who are healthy, right, who makes some sense. I almost said something different, but makes some sense, right? And you get around folks that are healthy. There's something that happens, and one can be, and I've experienced this myself. I get about somebody who's on some function. When I've been in a dysfunctional space, it can feel like oxygen, but it can also turn around and make me feel real self-conscious. And so if I can get through that and start, there's an invite to some more functional space, and so one of the things that we do in our congregation, and we do, and just some of the work that we do, is we try to show folks, here's what function looks like. Here's what health can look like. Here's some options for you to choose that are going to serve you much better than some others. And here's some examples of that living in real time. And this, again, this is me coming out the pulpit here, right? We're going to call ourselves Christian, but then not have a story to tell about how that's working for us. This is a huge issue. Huge issue. How many folks, how many times do I get up there and preach? And if somebody can't see that my life is bearing fruit, then why are they going to believe the way that I got there, right? I better have some fruit to be able to say I have some success in. And I think this doesn't just apply in that faith-based context. This applies in many others too. Look, how can we show what's thriving? Friends groups have this all the time, right? My friends group, they will call us out. And the reason I keep calling myself on the carpet is because I got practice. Why? Because my friends group, we will call ourselves out in a minute and then expect some better behavior, better treatment and stuff like that. I have people who will check me in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I get those kind of results from my wife on a daily basis. So absolutely, it's very therapeutic and developmental. That's it. I want to go to a clip here. Here's a clip of right-wing pastor Hank Kuhneman, who's outraged that people are honoring Indigenous Peoples Day instead of Columbus Day. And I think mainly it's because he can't pronounce the word. Now, let's play the clip. I think there's going to be something in this clip that's going to be beneficial to our conversation. Let's run it.
What was this? When I was on vacation, I was watching the news, and they said there's this Indigenous Day. Or what was it called? In what? I couldn't even pronounce it. I said, I am indignant that they're doing that to my Columbus Day.
Still
don't you dare play woke and start. And you that are watching me, it ain't indignant, whatever it is. You need to be indignant day, Christopher Columbus, the history of our nation, and stop the nonsense. Man, I wanted to put signs in my yard. Christopher Columbus Day. Yeah, but don't you know he was this? How do you know? I don't believe anything that they just changed in the last few years. Amen. Let's stop. Say this with me, because I feel the atmosphere that our words are carrying power. Can we speak to the woke culture? Stop the nonsense. We ain't buying it.
There's a lot of places I could go after that, but the first thing is I'm stuck between laughing at these types of clips, but also realizing the significant role that they play in facilitating this dissent, facilitating this particular type of relationship with religion that has become very useful in terms of being one that's deployed for the powerful, one that is deployed to maintain the systemic oppression that we see, one that is deployed specifically to give this righteous, quote unquote, indignation the play on words that he was trying to use to insult the indigenous populations, right? It gives people this sense of righteous indignation and gives them this sense of authority as they go out there and carry out their bigotry that ultimately sometimes leads to their deaths.
So it's funny. The whole time he was talking, I was listening to that piano player, because that piano player was handling business.
We got so go ahead.
No, I was mad because the piano player was doing his job, meeting the pastor where it was. Look, the fact piece just doesn't hold up, right? So again, just like the clip you played earlier, if facts come into the game, if actual history comes into the game, you can let that tell its own story, right? Because in that space, he's putting forward Christopher Columbus Day not as a day that commemorates a discovery. He didn't use that language. He didn't say because of discovery. He said and I want to underscore here, he's absolutely right. The foundation of this nation was built on the violence that Christopher Columbus introduced, both as a discoverer within 6 days, instituting policies that chopped off the hands of indigenous. He's responsible for 250,000 Taino people leaving or dying, in the destruction of the Taino peoples, which is close and dear to my heart because part of my family is from Puerto Rico. So it is the when you put that onto the table, let alone the destruction that happened under him as a governor, those tell a story, right? And so the founding of this nation absolutely is founded on destruction. And so part of the challenge he has is that he was definitely telling some truth there, but if it needed some contextualization. The other piece that comes along with that is, again, I come back to this market system space. There's just not a stomach. He talks about, I don't believe any of the changes that happened in these last 4 years. Part of those 4 years was under Trump, right? And when we talk about that, we're talking about a community that is even, and not just talking about, he keeps trying to place it on woke community. So the assumption is he's placing on people of color, on progressives and all those things. I actually think the pressure he's feeling is from folks in his own community, because I'm finding folks who are leaving this type of positioning of this information. They're coming to me in droves saying, can I get your perspective on this? And then when we put the history on the table, they're like, yeah, I can see how a person of color or indigenous person wouldn't look at the discovery under, doctrine under Christopher Columbus, that kind of rhetoric and thought process, because his discovery of America doesn't equate to net positive for us. That is part of a process that for indigenous people and African American people, for people of color in general who are hurt by colonialism and colorism and all that stuff. He's an arbiter of that. So of course we're not going to be proud of that. And that's going to only grow. And so those are some of the things that I'm just wondering in the backdrop there. I'm looking at the lady in the gray hair in the front and the clip who just sit there and is stoic and is not moving. This is actually a response that we talk about quite a bit. When I disagree, I'm in the cultural space I want to be in. There's other pieces that speak to me. I may not like this. I'm just going to sit there. I'm gonna glaze over. I'm gonna go to my happy place for a second, and when you're done,
so you're saying everybody in there ain't with them. Everybody listening, everybody there is not with them.
I know it for a fact because I get emails and conversations. I go into to talks, and folks are like, and it usually comes.
So there's a remnant. There's a remnant of people who actually sees these people for what they are turning themselves to be.
What did Ellison write? If you can show me a way, if you can teach me your ways while showing me into a larger society, then and only then will I drop my hostilities and defenses and help you to make the desert bear fruit. If you can show me, if I can not jettison everything there is about my being while having some growth and consciousness raising, if I can set that environment up, a whole lot of people jump. A whole lot of people jump in and are willing to go.
Wow. I know we're coming up on time here, but you were talking about history, and I really wanted to ask you your thoughts on Constantine then. I wanted to go back a little bit further because to me, it feels like there has been a merger of faith with the bludgeoning tool of not just political systems, but war itself. And before I saddle it anymore, we only have a few minutes. It's a huge question, but what do you think about In This Name We Shall Conquer and how it has been? You're right. There's a history attached to not only the historical interpretation of Christopher Columbus, but even the historical interpretation of religion as it has been used throughout history.
Well, I mean, manifest destiny, that conquering in the name, if the people there are not God believing, then you have the rights to conquer there. That there's a papal bull from the Catholic Church that allowed and pushed forward for that major expansion of exploration. Religion allied to the state always has some problematic elements in there because we start wondering what our allegiances come to. And so this has been problematic. I mean, even Constantine didn't convert to Catholicism until his deathbed because he was trying to build order in the area. So there's a lot to that particular history. This is one of the reasons why you hear a lot of theologians, pushing for us to go back to the wisdom tradition, the Afro-Asiatic wisdom tradition that is the heart of Christianity. If in that Christian context, right? If we're just using it as a lens, I'm not diminishing other faith traditions. I'm just saying that if we're going to talk about Christianity and we're going to talk about that, it has an Afro-Asiatic wisdom tradition root that allows you to look at the stories and the experiences and derive the wisdom from them. And so I can, it allows me in some ways to be able to address the conquering pieces, which were written by a people who were exiled. And so you're going to get rhetoric in that is going to be about kind of reclaiming identity and power. And so if you can understand that context, and you can eat the meat and spit out the bones. The problem is when you start aligning systems and power and all of that, you have a lot less room and leeway to eat the meat and spit out the bones, because that starts to get into national allegiance, starts getting into power and control and all of these other things. And so when we are when you go to seminary and you do some of the theological work and you have these deeper conversations and are allowed to, you actually can come into a more critical liberative message that comes out of there. That gets problematic when you align it to state power, political power, and you weaponize it. So this is the philosophy, and this is not new philosophy. Let's be clear. Philosophical circles, Dinker Sibbles, African philosophy predates Greece. It predates Rome, and it's been around for a long time. As long as there have been people, we've been trying to understand and talk about the world. It's when we stop doing that is when we allow for dehumanizing methodologies to start really coming in and wreaking havoc. Wow.
Pastor Anthony Galloway, historian, philosopher. Brother, thank you for spending these Fridays with me. I know it's a long hour, but there's just always so much for us to dig into. Tell everyone how they can get up with you and support your work. Well, first, support Georgia Fort. Georgia Fort's work is phenomenal. If you want to support my work, then support Georgia. The independent journalism that she's doing on the ground is calling to question a whole lot of things and bringing narratives that wouldn't have got there. She just did this story on the homeless encampments in the Twin Cities that is just phenomenal. It tells the story that hasn't been there before. So if you're going to give me an opportunity to use a platform, use it to support this Black woman. Absolutely. Georgia Fort, I believe it's hello. What is her website? Somebody give me the website really quick. It's like georgiafort.com. And so definitely go over there and support her and Brother Galloway, Pastor Galloway. Georgia, thank you for introducing me to this brother, prolific philosopher, historian, Pastor Anthony Galloway. Thanks so much for joining us today. Thanks for having me. And thanks for writing my sermon last week. Hey, man, you still got to come back and tell us about that. I heard it was a good one. Someone in Twitch actually sent a comment and said it was a great sermon. So they're out there listening to you, brother. That's what's up. All right, hey, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, like it or not, Rebecca Zor. In the meantime, DJ Exclusive is in your hands. Lingering inside my space, turning minutes into hours into days. I'm thinking about the situation.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Your boy James Williams. DJ Exclusive is in the building. I'm late, but the earliest to be on time is late, not bring your ass at all. Whatever the saying is, because I'm here, guys. That's all y'all need. Good morning, everybody. Once again, in the building. Coming up next. Good morning, y'all, and happy Friday. Good morning. He did too much stretching today. Looks like his back hurting, huh?
No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just
Good
can't
morning,
hurt
everybody.
me.
Good morning, good morning. Y'all come on in, get situated. Y'all come on in, get a refill on your beverage for like it or not. You know one of them, so we got coming up, right, y'all? Y'all stay tuned.
Is a female dog. I'm staying 10 toes down, though I still might fall. Oh yeah, now I done came through, knocking pictures off you walk. Loving people who persecute you. Still a tough life.
Good morning, Brenda Johnson.
9 a.m. to 10:30, yeah. Like it or not is on your channel, yeah. Politics and culture, we change scan like we're supposed to, yeah. Interviews and all the news, we get to choose what gets the views. Like it or not, with Queen Azora, it started now, so stick around. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, Rebecca Azor is coming through. You know she got a good story for you. Oh, Benjamin, that's my dog. This is his show. He's a politics pro. I am your DJ. DJ exclusive. Y'all know who I am. That's Tasty Jams. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, like it or not, it's starting now. Like it or not, it's about to go down.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, people.
Good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth
and not care who doesn't like it.
It is again Friday, October 22nd, 2021. Thanks so much for joining us. DJ Exclusive, how you doing, man?
I'm good. You must have missed the whole meltdown breakdown, didn't you?
No, I saw it just froze.
Oh man, I was about to say, I'm like, did Ben know what happened?
Yeah, man. Listen. I'm at a different phase. Like there would have been a time in my life where I would have been in the background, like, get it right, fix it. And I was like, man, nah, it's time. We chilling today, baby. We just, hey, the stream will come back up when it comes back up, and when it comes back up, we're gonna give them a good time, man. So I'm just over here chilling.
Right. Same
chilling, waiting on Rebecca Azor to show up. And come in and do all these wonderful stories that she's brought us. A lot.
You ain't check your text messages either, Ben.
I didn't check.
Ben misses so much sometimes, y'all. When I tell y'all,
I saw
Ben
the whole conversation, but you read. But what I saw you saying was, yeah. I miss a lot. Matter of fact, I'm not even looking at the screen most of the day. Most of the day, I'm just looking at a camera, looking back at me. So I literally have no idea what's going on around me. But we got a great team that makes it happen. Anyway, let's start with Ron DeSantis. I want to start with this clip, and it's Ron DeSantis. Apparently, it's him imitating someone that he wants to be like. When Ron DeSantis grows up, he wants to be like a former president. Let's take a look at this clip.
Anybody here would do it. Project to get judges are a priority.
And honestly, we have businesses that have been locked down and lives destroyed for over a year based to say
many ballots,
no COVID vaccine passports are made in China and shipped here. Why would we want so many important things?
Can we take them
to us be at the whim of China?
Why would you show me this? My God, today, did you see that?
What does that say about you that the person you aspire to be is Donald Trump?
Bro.
What
the
happened
bar
to
is
Ron
set very low, extremely low.
The bar is in hell, right?
The bar is in hell, bro.
And good morning, everyone. I just want to point out, like, I don't think DeSantis is smart enough to train himself on his own for this. So he's definitely paying someone to advise him on how to perform like Trump.
You think so? Because I really think it's one of those things. He looks like he's one of those white guys that they call he's the tool. That he sits there in the mirror and is like, okay, he does his hands like this.
Yeah.
Donald J. Trump, I am the president China. Just like I do. This is the same thing. China. It's like CHYNNA. China.
Of all the people, I mean, where do you have to be in your life, Ron, that you set your aspirations to be more like Donald Trump? I mean, of all people. Donald Trump. 2 Corinthians, Donald Trump. I mean, it's one thing to be your own village idiot. See, Ron DeSantis is his own special kind of stupid, right? But it's when he set his bar for stupidity to match that of Donald Trump. Like that's really, man, that's some spectacular white mediocrity, bro. I've never seen. Can we run it one more time just for posterity's sake? Let's look at Ron DeSantis as he imitates his Führer.
Anybody here would do it.
Project to get
Judges are a priority.
And honestly, we have businesses that have been locked down and lives destroyed for over a year based to say no COVID vaccine passports are made in China and shipped here. Why would we want so many important things
There's no virus.
to us be at the whim of
There's
China?
nothing. Everything is okay.
Bro, when they said in unison, they said, and honestly, I like the
okay, and honestly,
you got to be some kind of stupid to try to imitate.
This ain't the most Florida-ish thing I've ever seen. It sounds
in
about
other news, Florida man. The Florida man. How did y'all elect Florida man to the governor's seat? Okay. Ron DeSantis is a walking Florida man, right? Remember the guy who got caught in Miami, like eating the face of another person because he was on. Oh God. That's Ron DeSantis. Okay, everybody. Just so we're clear what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with a higher level of intellect. We're dealing with a person who thinks he should look up to Donald Trump. Come on, man.
Florida,
man.
Florida.
To the governor's seat.
China. Down to the Sharpie. You know, someone said, wouldn't it be cool if you use a Sharpie just like Trump?
But this time you use purple. Use purple so that they can't say you're doing the same thing. The purple Sharpie massacre. I'm done with y'all. All right, we got some more idiocy. Here's a rally. At a rally for the GOP, Virginia governor candidate Glenn Youngkin. They said the Pledge of Allegiance, but it was to a flag that was carried during the insurrection on January 6th. And so now they're not only, honoring January 6th, they're honoring the flags that were carried on January 6th, like they got carried out on the battlefields of Lexington. And God, man, these people have lost their minds, James. Like they acted like this was carried out on the fields of the Revolutionary War, and they're saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag that was carried in the Capitol on January 6th. Let's take a look at this.
I also want to invite Kim from Chesapeake. She's carrying an American flag that was carried at the peaceful rally with Donald J. Trump on January 6th. I ask you all to rise and join us as Mark Lloyd leads us in the pledge.
Face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Ooh, the caucasity of it all. Ooh. Cause ain't this some bullshit? The flag that was in the building that several people lost their lives to. Okay, y'all pledging that. Oh, okay. Might as well pledge your allegiance to the devil. Cause let me shut up.
Man, I don't know what happened to these people growing up. Like, I guess this is what white supremacy does to your brain. This is honestly, like, they used to have all those warnings. This is your brain on drugs. Let me tell you, this is not your brain on drugs. This is your brain on white supremacy, bro. This is your brain on nationalism. This is your brain on Trumpism. God, all these people, man.
The peaceful rally that was happening on January, girl. If you don't sit your ass down, you out, you ate that. Get out of here, girl. Goddamn it.
You want to ask Ashley Babbitt how peaceful it was?
Ben.
Oh, Father, I stretch my hands to thee. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
Oh, God. Well, we thank y'all all for joining today and watching us here on
they're
the
holding.
Dixon
Hey, James, they're holding up the bloodstained banner, bro. They're holding up the bloodstained banner of January 6th.
Like, dead ass, man. Like, for real, they really are, dude. And that's that's disturbing. And y'all are okay with it.
I don't know why it's so funny to me. Because when you follow up after Ron DeSantis trying to beat Donald Trump, and then you go to this sister who was pledging allegiance to the January 6th flag, let's run this next clip. It's a little bit of comic relief. It's another clip from Trey Crowder on the far right being offended, right? They have the nerve to be offended because we call them domestic terrorists, but that's exactly what the hell y'all are. Let's take a listen to this clip.
Well, after months of frothing at the mouth at school board meetings, the far right is incensed at the notion some might consider them domestic terrorists because of that, which I find pretty hilarious because they're basically like, hey, so you know how I've been screaming at those fascists on the school board about doctors being frauds? Well, now, because of that, them and the commie queers are calling me names. Can you believe that? There's just something funny about the fact that the people behind all your papa's favorite racial slurs are upset at a little generalization. You know, these are the same people that when a black guy gets shot for wearing a hoodie, they'll say, well, he shouldn't have been dressed like a thug. But now they're like, so just because I threaten those who disagree with me with violence in an effort to intimidate them into aligning with my agenda, that makes me a terrorist all of a sudden? Yeah, it kind of does, man. These people are so stupid, and they hide it all behind the guise of being concerned parents. Oh, so concerned parents are terrorists in Biden's America? Is that it? You're not concerned parents, you're brainwashed wingnuts who have children. It's the first part we care about. The second part's kind of ancillary. All right, I've got kids. Don't lump me in with your horse shit. All right, there's plenty of other parents out here. We're pretty concerned too right now. But whereas you're concerned that your baby girl might have to wear a mask in the middle of a pandemic and be taught that slavery was bad, we're concerned about our kids sharing the monkey bars with your little pee-wee petri dishes. We're concerned that one of y'all might do something crazy if the school keeps taking the appropriate precautions, probably on account of you keep saying you're going to do that like a fucking terrorist would.
Jesus.
And mostly, we're concerned about the future our kids might inherit if you fucking slack-jawed, backward-ass, broke-brained, empty-headed, hate-filled lunatics have your way. How's that for name-calling, you dipshit?
My bad on the language. This was originally meant for the after party a week ago.
That's like 3 words. That's $300. Okay, we're gonna send it to Trey. Trey, you owe us $300 for all that profanity. But man, what is it about hearing white folks with country accents read their racist white folks with other country accents? Why is it so enjoyable, man? That was funny to me.
Very much so, because he went off. Go off.
That's what we need more of. Go off on your fellow white folks, man. Because these little petri dishes, kids, little snot-nosed, raggedy kids on the monkey bars. That's what we're afraid of. On the monkey bars
that your kids playing on. That's what we're afraid of. Well, yeah, we are calling you terrorists if you want to think about it honestly.
Because on account of that, you doing some terrorism.
Okay.
Call a thing a thing.
Call a thing a thing.
Is Rebecca here? Hey, Zor. Queen Azor, how you doing, sis?
Good. How are you?
The bond of justice has entered the building.
Yeah, we're doing good. Glad. Yeah, you're still on the that MacBook microphone. They don't invest a lot in their microphones.
I mean, they do pretty good.
Anyway.
Working now? I thought it.
Oh, there it is.
There we go.
How you doing, sis?
Good. How are you?
Good. Appreciate you pushing your way through. I honestly did not see the text messages until like 5 minutes ago. So, I
Just
what,
like a
I texted
man.
you 5 minutes ago.
So I told her ass, girl, we got it and we had it, but she's wanted to get on up. I'm like, oh, okay, Rebecca, cool, you can come on in. But I told her to stay in the bed. I was pushing through too. I was so tired. My alarm didn't go off until about 8:00, so I had to rush to set up everything.
Listen, I tried to do a best of episode today. I was gonna just let's do a replay. Let's take a Friday off. Nope, there's a white man in the background said, no, I got to put these black folks to work. Got to get them out here, and made me had to show up this morning. We all wanted to take the day. The only white man I'll let talk to me like that.
Except I don't talk to you like that.
Rebecca, I'm about to say, Rebecca, only one arm on the show. What are you talking about?
What white man is that? Because
definitely don't put me out there like that.
That doesn't sound like the white man I know.
What you saying? What you saying? That's not entirely true. What I just said.
Don't put me out there.
It's not true.
You mean I'm lying? I'm misrepresenting my relationship with that white man?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Severely.
Okay. I like to make people think that we have a friendly bully white man in the background, but I guess we don't. But anyway, the point was we were supposed to take the day off. We're supposed to take the day off, but David was like, "No, we got to do what's best for the."
Well, who had that? Who said that? Because if I knew, seriously. But
look, Rebecca, right?
The white man.
If we would have, but I don't think he said it like Ben said it. I think Ben was like, "Nah, we got to."
No, he.
Exactly, Rebecca. You know it because you know.
This time
you already know it wasn't Dave. It was Ben's like, nah, we'll just get up and do it. We'll do it. We good. I'm just gonna stretch and I'm gonna be good.
Look,
see, I could let you guys do this for me. I could let you do this.
We about to do some yoga.
I'm going to represent Ben right and say in the past that's been Ben's approach. This time he very much was feeling that lazy route, and I was like, no, because we got a whole bunch of replays.
No, you're gonna get on my here internet.
Don't shoot him no bell, David. Let him get these jokes. Let him get these jokes today.
Rebecca, I'm here for it. Look, girl, let's just shut up. Let's go, David and Dwayne. Anything else?
Look,
what did I do to Dwayne?
It's nothing.
Dwayne, let's go make a list. Come back in a week.
Go.
You ain't do nothing. It's just Friday. Everybody had their Friday to get their jokes.
David,
today your turn.
Yeah, David. Next time. Don't
Becca's
get involved
right
in grown folks' business. I'm just kidding. No, next time though, we have to know what's going on. But I'm glad that we're here. I'm glad that we are with you guys. It really, y'all see, I ain't even got my lashes on. I ain't even got my mascara on. Okay, I don't even got foundation. I took my makeup brush and I tapped my face. I didn't even really put a full face on for the children today.
You still look good though.
I was just about to say that.
So I was able.
Right, David. I was like, well, damn, you ain't got nothing on. Okay, shit.
I took when you use the makeup brush over and over, I just took it and I just kind of dabbed my face to get
I can't say I do.
My morning sleep off.
I have no recollection. It's not like I wear makeup or anything.
You know when? No, sorry.
Rebecca.
What is wrong with y'all this morning? This is not the after party. We're still live.
It's Friday. What's going on? Anyways, what were you guys talking about before? What were you guys talking about?
Does anybody even know what we're laughing about at this point? Does anybody have any point of reference?
Well, we can laugh at the Southerners, or we can amplify some HBCU folks that are protesting.
We're going to amplify.
We didn't want to get serious, David. Look at this.
No, I did that story in Benjamin P. Dixon. First of all, Dwayne, I don't know what line you have me on here, but the children on screen are not listening to me. First of all, there's a big
wait a minute,
and I have no time. We are going to talk about the HBCU kids who are protesting over there at Howard.
Oh,
because that
okay. Well, no, that's a serious story. Yeah, no, for real. Let's do it.
So
this is what now y'all see what I go through when I be talking to y'all, because y'all be on the same channel and I be background like, yeah, and then all of a sudden it's like 3 hours later, then my audio finally come to y'all and like, oh yeah, what you say? Huh? Okay, cool. Now you get it. Now y'all see what the hell I go through.
Since we having fun and I know you can take a joke, if you was here on time, you would have been in the right channel. and you wouldn't have to worry about that delay.
You didn't want me on that channel. I could have been on that channel. You just wanted to, do
No, if you was here when you was supposed to be, you would have been in the right place where you was supposed to be. And you could have got brought in with everybody else.
I just want to say for the record, before we go to this next story, this is a crisis of leadership and management. This is what happens when you empower your team entirely too much, and you let them have this all the autonomy. They get to say whatever they want to say, and just they feel so. It is a beautiful thing. But my God, y'all are some silly clowns, and I don't know. I don't even know if I want to finish the show. Let's go to the after party.
No, we are going to do this story first before we go to the after party. So.
Damn! I knew I wasn't by myself, but for the sake of the story. Now, all jokes aside, there's protests that are going on at Howard University, and it's not getting the kind of national coverage that it needs to get. We've been having a lot of fun this morning, but there's some serious stuff that we got to tackle. Rebecca Azor, I yield the floor.
Okay, so. As we know, over at Howard, there are protests going on. They're underway from the kids who are protesting the terrible living conditions on campus. Many kids have taken to the school campus's main area and have protested the mold, protested the unbreathable air filters, a lot of things that are broken and haven't been fixed. A lot of people are questioning where the money has gone from the university. If there is so much money being poured into the schools, why aren't those funds being used to redo the dorms or redo the apartments on campus? So I know that I sent in. I don't know if we have that. Do we have the? Mm-hmm.
We have a different one because we can't use the local coverage, but we do have a SOT.
Okay, perfect. Let's take a look, listen to what these students had to say.
Student protests at Howard University. They've been camped out at the school's Blackburn Center, and they say that they will stay there until all of their demands are met. They're asking for better housing for incoming freshmen. An in-person town hall meeting with Howard University's president and the reinstatement of students, faculty, and alumni as voting members of the school's Board of Trustees.
We demand change. We demand humane living conditions.
There have been a lot of reports of mold in dorms. We're not quite sure if it's black mold or if it's just regular mold, but regardless, it's disgusting and frustrating. I remember hearing about a girl who had mushrooms growing in her shower. I know about kids who have had to start taking like army sort of showers because when they shower, it gets so bad that they start to struggle to be able to breathe. In one of our dorms, there was flooding, and it took them about 4 hours to get to kids, to get them relocated. All of their stuff was destroyed. Everything that they bought, their entire room was like flooded and full of water. In one of the boys' dorms, there are bugs in the showers. Gnats and roaches. There's rats in our cafeterias where people are eating on a daily basis. And that's just the stuff that we can see where we're eating. We have no clue what's happening behind the counter. We tried to do everything by protocol. We emailed everybody that we were supposed to be emailing, and we called everybody we were supposed to be calling, and nobody ever tried to help us in a way that really mattered.
I think a lot of people are surprised that there are reports of this happening at Howard. I mean, it's one of the most high-profile HBCUs. It's also ranked among one of the wealthiest black colleges.
We're not the first people to be dealing with this. They had protests for this in '88. They had protests for this in 2018.
Did she say 88?
She said 1988 and then 2018. So just to, first of all, the BNC anchor is, she fine. She beautiful. And poor kids, the poor
girl.
Kids are to go through this. I know that at my university, Florida A&M, and I gotta be honest, I thought when we first moved there, my dorm room, and I represented my dorm room for the university, and had to talk about a lot of our living conditions as well. Because what they're talking about is not uncommon at some of these universities, and you'll see. But now I can say when you go there, now the dorms are upscale now because I guess they used the money to rebuild. But there were dorms that were shut down for so long, unutilized space, and the ones that were up and running looked like the ones that were vacant. It was so I do, and I love to see that these kids are speaking up about it. But here's an update. So last week, this is when the protest started, but the Board of Trustees had responded this weekend saying that all they said was, simply put, we hear you and we continue to welcome your viewpoints on all matters pertaining to Howard. The release went on to state that the board supports and encourages the administration's open and constructive dialogue with students, saying the goal is to cultivate spaces for us to listen and discuss prominent issues on students' minds. And they also touched on, a few more of the housing concerns, saying the university has always guaranteed housing for freshmen and sophomores. Currently, 94% of first-year and second-year students are living in Howard University residences. This fall, Howard secured and provided additional housing for 700 students, a 15% increase in the total number of beds available to students compared to 2019-2020 academic year. We recognize that despite our efforts, there are those in our community who have struggled to find housing opportunities. What does that have to do with living conditions? I couldn't tell you, because even if there was an influx of students, which caused them to have more beds, more bodies than beds, the living conditions in those buildings should not be that way. Do y'all remember having to take a shower with shower shoes at the university and literally bugs crawling all in the damn shower?
No, I don't remember that part. I'm sorry,
because being you stayed in the good dorm. Trust me, I was in like the general population. That's what it looked like in prison
you're right.
at Bronson Hall, because it was communal showers where it was like you walk in, you got 3 stalls on the backside and then 2 showers in front of those stalls with no shower curtain. Bugs, roaches, everything, mold, all of it. Everything for a private university that you would think would take care of their school and everything, but no. And it sucks because this happens at a lot of HBCUs. I ain't gonna say a lot of them, but Howard, I would really think that Howard would be one that is Howard is a prestigious HBCU, and you would really think that it would be set up perfect for these students. But it just goes to show you, as a HBCU, is just these funds just don't never go to where it needs to go to.
That's right. You think about Howard. They have the Chadwick Boseman. They just opened up the Chadwick Boseman Performing Arts. Right. They just hired Nicole Hannah-Jones from the 1619 Project over at the New York Times, and Claire Huxtable, Felicia Rashad. Isn't Felicia Rashad like a dean over there? I don't think
she is.
Roaches and black mold.
So
that's a lot.
Some people might not like me for saying this, but this is an example of black people being black people. So like y'all talk about the money not going where it's supposed to, right? The HBCUs, like I worked at Hampton for a long time. I've been to a lot of the HBCUs, so I know that a lot of times it's more about putting on the facade that, hey, look at what we doing. Look at all these nice, beautiful buildings. But in the background, you got students living like this all over the place. Yep. And I mean, it's I wonder
how many PWIs are like
how we do things. It's more about the show and putting on the front sometimes than actually taking care of the underlying issues.
So I'll say this, the money that goes into the schools, I don't know how that works, but I know there's some sketchiness. It's always sketchiness when it comes to the money in the schools, and we see the money in corporations and the money all the time. I don't really think it's like it is. I wouldn't say it's black people being black people, right? Because I'll say that I don't know where the money goes when it comes to Howard University. My school gets a lot of money. My school is the prestigious school, Florida A&M University. But, we have all of these HBCUs. It's sad because I feel like they are so used to functioning as if they never had money, and as if they didn't, like this is back in the day. So I feel like when they didn't, especially with being controlled by, I'm pretty sure a lot of our universities that we see at, on the main level, and that even includes mine, there's some control from the community or from the white community or whatever the case may be. I know for Florida A&M, anything that goes on, of course we make sure that it's FAMU and FAMU's only, but a lot of control about things that we do about in Tallahassee is controlled by the leadership in Tallahassee. The state government. Absolutely. Yeah. So I do.
Which made me ask that question, though.
We had
ask that question, Rebecca. I don't mean to cut you off, but like, as you experienced that at FAMU, did you see that over at Florida State? Did you hear about it in Florida State? Like, I want to know, how many white schools go through this?
At FSU, if they complained about anything, it would be rebuilt. If you go to their library, rebuilt in 2 seconds, all of that stuff. We had things because people, I remember Magic Johnson donated our Orange Room to us, which was like an upscale CAF. We had 2 of them, and it provided an area for us to just come and chill and be like in a better environment instead of just always being in the CAF. It just provided a better space for us to eat luxury food instead of, because FAMU's food is always luxury, to be honest. But, if you wanted to do outside of the meals that were being cooked and stuff, and it was just like a nice hangout spot for everybody. But it was something that when FAMU is presented on television, that's what made it more marketable. We had these empty buildings, like I said, that are sitting there, and the FAMU kept pushing. I mean, I remember one time to get the buildings redone after a lot of us fought for it, talked about it, at the town hall meetings, all kinds of stuff, and it would not get approved. Like those kind of things, it just wouldn't get approved. And we had to learn that going to the meetings I had to cover as a young journo, going to the Board of Trustee meetings and stuff, because students had questions, just like these Howard University students. But I think now, when it comes to living situations and a lot of the money that's being spent, and I get it, I feel like they're trying to keep up with, the money's coming in, and the people that are sending the money, they want us to do this with the money when we know we need this with the money, and we got to keep the stature up of the school when people come to the school so that we have somewhere to bring them, or and they can see. But students first. I think that's what I think that's students first. I know we're trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to keep the school in the news on top, trying to keep the school getting funds in. But I think this should be and because we're in a viral era and these kids ain't playing, I think this should be a lesson to all HBCUs. I don't want anybody who isn't part of the family having this conversation either. Every day we have these conversations. HBCUs are still, to me, the way to go. But we have a lot of work to do, even within our own. HBCUs are, to me, it's a great opportunity, great experience. But we shouldn't. I should have never been living the way.
Black mold ain't no joke. That'll mess.
I was gonna say that. Ben, I had dust in my dorm room. Not just like a little bit of dust. I'm talking about those things were turning into animals and trying to fight.
Wait, somebody said they had mushrooms in the clip. They said they had mushrooms growing in their room. Yeah, I'm like,
no,
bro.
And there's a video of it where on the back of a girl's portrait, the amount of mold that
Yeah, that means ventilation is bad. They did say, excuse me, Nick Eden was saying as well too that some of the PWIs face the same thing as well too. They did release something in a magazine at Harvard, but and that's so much the difference. Harvard, because the difference is these PWIs are going to get all the exposure, and you're going to hear about it on everything, the news, everything. But once it comes to an HBCU, the only thing that you're going to hear about HBCU is somebody that embezzled money, or the school is losing money, or lost their accreditation. That's the only thing you're going to hear about. You're never going to hear anything about students going up doing protests, they being treated unfairly, or any of that. And that really sucks. But you'll hear about the PWI issues all day long.
Yeah. I mean, Bubba, it goes to a couple weeks ago, we was saying the same thing. It's happening everywhere. It's just at the PWIs and the bigger schools, they have better PR and they're better at, spending things. And also, like Rebecca said, a lot of times when that money is coming in, it's already earmarked to certain stuff. Like somebody will donate and this is for this grant to do X, Y, and Z or this trust. So, maybe we got to do
I do know one thing. I do know the most difficult time I ever had taking a shower at a university was actually at FAMU. I have to remember I went to band camp there back in '98, and the shower conditions there pretty much left me traumatized because you're right. I had to go in there with flip-flops, towels. I had to go in there with bleach. It was one of the craziest experiences I've ever been in. So shout out to FAMU, the highest of 70s.
Let me tell you, my experience in the damn dorm room, and Rebecca, I don't know how far yours had to go with this, but when I tell you starting in the dorm room or starting at college, getting used to that, for one, I got to take a shower in a bathroom that's open to everybody on this damn floor. Yeah. So on this half of the hallway, that's like 6 rooms, each with 4 people. So that's 24 people I'm sharing a bathroom with that only has 3 stalls and 2 showers. No shower curtain. What? So you can't go in there and take no shower when you feel like it. You got to wait till late night when everybody sleep because you don't want nobody walking in. But it was like dorm law that, okay, if you hear the shower on in the bathroom, you don't come in there yet, because you got to go back there and use the stall. Hope you ain't got to take a dump because then if you taking a shower, you're going to be SOL. And then if you end up taking a dump while you waiting, oh my God, being at Bronson Hall, the freaking pits. So I did everything in my power I could to get the hell up out that door. I'm like, bro, this is not going to work for me.
Hey, I stayed in Bronson Hall only during the summertime. So I do know the bathrooms that you're talking about, but there was nobody there in the summertime. I cannot imagine, man. I'm so glad those days are behind me, man. Sorry to those kids out there who having mushrooms and they have trees. They got entire plants growing. They got a whole botany experiment going on over there.
I'm about to say, at least they farming their own stuff. That'd be good for cultivating some food. No, just playing.
I didn't expect you to say that. Listen, now I will say that for all that these kids are doing, I pray that this does more than what it did in '88. It does more than what it did in 2018. We are at the year of the viral times, but now these kids are protesting. I'm talking about they're missing class. They're sleeping outside of the buildings to protest this matter. I mean, you saw Lil Mama still on her little twist, because she's been outside. They've been protesting this, and this is what we are talking about when these. I need for these messages to move forward because I would say they got us back in the day, would be like, they got to suffer like we did. It's just part of the school's culture. I mean, it is what it is. But
Rebecca,
today's
1988, Lawrence Fishburne was in School Days. They've been fighting. They've been trying to get clean bathrooms at Howard since 1988.
I wasn't even thought of in 1988. And so that's
right. But see,
that's what I'm saying. This ain't.
I was about to say, y'all got to look at it like it probably happens every so many years. They say 88, and then Rebecca, you said 2018. Same thing happened with Cookman. I'm sure it happened with FAMU. It's like it happens at that point where these dorms, you build them so many years, and after so much time, they're gonna start getting dilapidated and run down, and they need repairing. But we seen our maintenance department at Cookman. They went about shit, honestly. So they would keep up on nothing. Man,
there was some good people.
Look, Bubba, we ain't got the money to be cussing on here. Okay, we ain't got the money to give up for every cuss word. We ain't got it.
But why you go after the maintenance people with cool? Listen, man, I think I must have been living in a parallel universe at Cookman. I must have missed the whole.
No, you was living what we would consider living with the white folks at Bethune-Cookman.
But it'd be like
there was this one Russian chick who was like who got a tennis scholarship. So she was over there at that door with us. But you might be right. Dang.
So
I was on the gentrified side of a HBCU. How does that even happen?
Bubba, you said something. Well, I wouldn't say gentrified. I would say an elite side. You have the elitist and you have the other side. But Bubba, you said something. I was in what we call TWC, Okay. We had Truth, we had Wheatley, and we had Cropper. Okay. So, and I represented my my dorm, my residential dorm, as Miss Wheatley, 2007 and 2008. Then you had Diamond and McGuinn. You see the names we have?
Yeah, I had a dorm room named Diamond.
Because my dorm was actually named after Phyllis Wheatley.
Coming up to the stage.
Each one was a black woman, historical black woman. That was the female dorm.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I was Phyllis Wheatley, and then you had Diamond and McGuinn. Diamond and McGuinn girls were at the front of the school. So when they would come and check out the schools, they would be there. Us, we had to pass to the back of Diamond and McGuinn, climb the stairs of Diamond and McGuinn, hit up. Some people had to crawl through. I'm just kidding. Some people had to go down the steps of another building.
I can't stand Rebecca.
And then I had to, and there's a picture I have from my first day at my dorm. And I'm so ratchet because, I'm coming from Palm Beach. So I'm looking real hood in the front. And then I went back there and they shut down the whole, which kind of makes me sad, but they shut down the whole building. They shut down the whole building.
But if it had mushrooms grow, if y'all are growing mushrooms in black mold.
And Truth Hall was actually the underground part of the
You say the underground?
We have spent quite a bit of time, folks.
You had to go a level down, and they had no windows, and so
Rebecca,
y'all,
I just need to say,
terrible.
All of the energy that we have spent over the last 9 months, 10 months on this show promoting HBCUs, I think we've made a real bad case against them with these mushrooms growing in the back room.
Well, we're showing you that. And I think at that time, my school we were struggling with funding at that time. But the thing is, we were struggling with funding. We had these closed down dorm rooms that were supposed to be reopened so that we can have more bodies for beds, more beds for the bodies, because there was an influx of students that were coming into the school. Yet, like I said, Magic Johnson gave us this orange room. If we were like that money could have went to the dorms and stuff, but we were having trouble with funding at the time. So I don't think Howard has issues with funding right now. I think they're so used to having issues with funding and having to apply the funds that are being gifted to the school to certain things. And I think they're so used to that, so they still walk in that system. But you do not have to walk in that system anymore. Take care of your students. We already got to go there for the first year with no car. Take care of your students.
Right.
Okay.
So here's the thing though. So until like these protests and making people aware is great and all, but until we start to affect their pockets the same way we talk about with anything else, at the other places things are getting done because you got people that's going to complain and the right people are going to hear it and hold their money back, or like, hey, look, this $2 million I was supposed to give y'all this year, you're not getting until this gets done. We're not doing that. They already once we at the HBCUs, it's great and all, but they getting the money from they already getting your tuition money, and people are still coming next year, and people are still coming the year after that with everything going on. So until we start affecting their pockets, certain things
where we gonna go if we like we're gonna boycott?
But that's the thing. I'm not saying boycott. No, I'm not saying boycott. I'm saying I don't know how you fix it, because the right people have to be paying attention and start, because there are influential people, black people, giving money to these HBCUs.
Yeah,
and this stuff is still going on. So until we start to reach those people that will affect their pockets, it's gonna be more of the same.
So
and what it's going to come from is the alumni association. Once you get the alumni involved and you get in the alumni ear, I know
so
a
many
good
of the
base
alumni now
of that donation is alumni.
Many of the alumni now who have come from Howard have actually stood in solidarity, and these are celebrity alumni, have stood in solidarity with the Howard students. This is why this news of the unlivable conditions have been pushed to the top. Like, I've never seen any news like this when it comes to HBCU living conditions. That's right. Be even heard. So a lot of the people who represent, a lot of people saying, I love HU forever, but I stand with these kids. We have to get them better living conditions. Unfortunately, in our time, we really just lived with it. We went around it. We did what we had to do with it, and we graduated, right?
We know no better.
So, we thought that this was part of it. We thought that this was because we went to an HBCU, and the conversations that were had were because of funding at the time. But I think now, now we can hold the schools accountable because we can hold them, we can put their information, we can put them on blast where they can't send us a statement that says, well, I know you have these unlivable conditions, but look what Howard's doing. We got so many kids coming in.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
They can't do that to us. So
interesting.
I like that a lot of people, a lot of the Howard University alumni, celebrity alumni, including Taraji, including Lance Gross, have spoken up for the school. Even some rappers have spoken up for the children at the school. And that's why I think this is going to be bigger. And then the other schools are going to have to get in line. They're going to have to get it together because
kids out here had to get a whole lot more than a COVID shot. They had to get a tetanus shot. They having to get rabies shots. They had to get everything. They get all kind of stuff at these schools, bro. That's solidarity with all of them over there. Listen, it's 10 o'clock. It's after 10 o'clock. We're getting ready to cut over to the after party, even though we high-key have been in after party mode for some time now. Rebecca, get the last word before we cut out of here. And James, get ready to take us to a break. I do know that next Friday is a costume party for all of our patrons. James, tell the people more about that. I got nothing else. It's in your hands.
Okay, so Ben, when you do that transition, you got to stop at me, and then I'll take it over to Bubba. But
that's fine. You also need to be on time, Rebecca Azor. So if we're going to do some identifying things that we need to improve on.
It's either I was going to be late, or I was going to be not present. So
I feel like that's rude.
But listen, I really, 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 really don't want anybody to their takeaway from today's episode and our conversation about HBCUs to be like, oh, I don't want to go to an HBCU or whatever, because at the end of the day, it's still HBCUs and HBCUs only. Right. The love, the amount of education that you get, the Black excellence that is still built there. But like all things that are beautiful and great, there is always something that needs to be worked on. And I think that what these students are saying is that with the legacy of the school, with the history of the school, we deserve something better here. This school deserves something better. And so I think that's a great conversation to have. And I hope that this pushes for changes at all HBCUs. So all HBCUs are put on notice, but shouts out to all HBCUs. HBCU love forever, Florida A&M University. Mwah. All right, Bubba, take it away.
The highest of 7 hills.
Wildcats, let's go.
So goodbye, my love. Already found someone that I'm thinking of, and I lose myself again to someone who's got the
I'm not committed, oh no. Oh no, but still I say we get along.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the screen.
How do you feel?
Ian and Rebecca.
You hit my phone. I know the deal.
Welcome back, everybody, to the after party. Everyone on Twitch, YouTube, the private stream. What's happening?
I can't hear. I just feel like my hearing is off. I don't like your channel, Dwayne. But
hey, now you know what would help that?
Rebecca, you bring it up. You open the door too.
You open the door for that. You just opened the door all the way up for that.
So I'm in a bunch of little group chats, right? And whenever somebody just lays one up at the rim, my favorite thing to do is take one of those gifs of an alley-oop of somebody between the legs or off the backboard. This would be the time where I would drop one of them gifts in there. Like, thank you, Rebecca.
What would help that, Jay? I mean, Dwayne, what are you talking about? The people are lost. What could possibly help the audio situation?
There's some nice headphones that everybody's got a pair. It's just certain people just refuse to wear them. We're not gonna say no.
They
names.
upgrade the experience so much.
So much.
But I don't like when they in my ear like that. It don't stay. So
okay.
It come with different attachments that you can put in your ear. You know that, right? Because you can change the bud out.
Circle. The audio is going to remain bad for her because she doesn't like the headphones. So,
no,
good afternoon.
It's because I'm on Dwayne's channel.
It's Dwayne's fault. It's the producer's fault always.
How's Dwayne? What channel is that?
I'll take it. I'll eat that, I guess. But I don't never hear no complaints from Georgia. This is where Georgia be 4 out of 5 days of the week. But you know the difference? Ooh. Georgia be wearing her headphones. So
Georgia wears her headphones.
Look, Georgia's sitting here watching like, now how do I get in it?
Okay, now how y'all gonna bring me in this?
She said, I wasn't even in today. Y'all done brought me into this. She said, I'm on my day off. You brought me into this mess on my day off.
I see how I get it. Sorry, Georgia. But
pull me in here.
She uses her earphones, and that's fine. I'll be the rebel. Shoot, I don't really like them things in my ear. I thank you for sending them to me. I'll wear them on Monday.
Yeah, Rebecca been fighting in-ear monitors since 2018.
I hate those things. I hate them. But
trust me, it took me a long time to get used to these things because I don't like nothing in my ear either. So I'm just like, because I'm always using the over-the-ear headphones. So when I had to put these in, I'm like, okay. It's still a struggle to get used to, but I'm like, all right, it sounds much better. I can hear it. Yeah.
Have you gotten used to hearing your voice like in your head? It's kind of a weird effect where you can,
it was.
That's what Rebecca
weird
used
as crap.
The most.
Like I don't even like how it's hanging in your front. Like why didn't you guys put it from the?
Because you remember on the show that day, I rolled over my cord, that extender cord that Dwayne had sent us with it too, and I broke mine, so I have to have mine in the front because it's short.
Well, I'm barely here.
I'm just uncomfortable that Rebecca doesn't see me because I'm not on camera and she's still new.
Bubba, I got you. Since you actually wear yours, I'll shoot you another extender cable so we can get you back right. We can get you back.
Can you send me a left side headphone too? Because this will keep static and y'all see me like doing all this.
I'll go back through the orders and check it out. We'll get you some replacement parts. Man. Matter of fact, we might just be able to send you some replacement parts from Rebecca's that she don't use. You know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking too. I was just gonna take hers next week. So
regifting Santa Dwayne.
Right. I'm gonna wear mine on Monday. Okay. And you guys are gonna see it's gonna be falling in the house, sliding. If I wear a dress, it's gonna be even worse. So we'll see.
So just run the cord up your back. You ain't gotta put it under your clothes. It just,
I know.
Just clip it.
That be the problem, because then now when I sit down, it'd be like pulling on this. It's okay.
Why are you like this, Rebecca? Why are you like this? I'll
wear it on Monday. Stop fighting me. I'm the only girl here. Have some respect.
I ain't fighting you. I've gotten used to you. Like I've gotten used to you not wearing them, and I don't even feel bad about it. Like it doesn't bother me that you don't. But it's just you be serving them. You be serving up the times where it's just I got to come in like LeBron off the glass, and dunk on Chase Terry.
Feedback. Don't forget that feedback, right? That nice feedback we have in the background is just ever so subtle.
That's not from me.
That's absolutely from your channel, Rebecca. Because you don't have no headphones.
I'm on Dwayne's channel.
Why do you call it Dwayne's channel?
All these are Dwayne's channels. What are you talking
about?
Oh, well, I never seen Dwayne. It's just me and Dwayne over here. I never seen it like that before.
Owned and operated by Done Right Media.
There it is. Let's go to when your dad, after party 1. Now, wait a minute. I think I've seen this one. Wait a minute. Is this the one I think it is, James? This the one where your dad is your biggest supporter. Who dropped this link? Did I drop this link?
Me. I did. Just play the clip, Dwayne. Yeah.
When your dad is your biggest supporter.
What you want to do? Go. You ready, bitch? Let's go.
I love this one.
Wait a minute.
That's his son. Of course, his son is gay or does Vogue, and his dad is still supporting. That's why I dropped it, because I love to see that. Black men, they might be not show as much emotion, but they still be your biggest supporter. That's how my dad is. Daddy don't show no emotion, but I know that man love me.
The dad is the one that's dancing, and the son is the one in the black that's gassing his dad up.
Yeah.
He was voguing. Somebody said he was hood voguing. You gotta get some hood voguing in your life. Oh, man,
I love that. He was learning. He learned the culture of his son.
Ben say hood voguing. I don't know if it's a difference.
No, the thug, like, no, I read a tweet. Somebody tweeted, he said his dad support him so much, he out here thugging voguing. And I'm like,
thug voguing, okay. Yeah,
thug voguing, yeah. I was like, okay. But what he said in it was the funniest part, but I don't think we have to take time to dissect that. People just rewind it and listen very closely to what he said. This is how much he supported his son. It was hilarious. What else we got in the after party?
This video by if we do this one, Rebecca, what you say?
I was about to answer the question, but I didn't even have an answer for that question.
Girl.
Because she don't even know what's on the list.
That's one of those times where it's like, I know I need to say something.
It was like, what else do we have for the after party? I was about to answer it with no answer. I had no answer, so I don't know why my confidence of answering that was at a high, because I didn't have anything for you guys. Not a thing. It's not a thing. Sorry,
and James,
take the floor.
And James, you circled back and gave her the opportunity.
And because I thought she had some, I was going, okay, cool. I got you. This next clip, AP2 Dwayne, is outfits inspired by Marvel. I forgot the guy's name, but when I tell you, this dude is a freaking fashion genius, and y'all will see why. Check this out.
Yes.
Okay.
Too sexy for this too sexy for your too sexy for this too sexy for your
okay.
I like that.
That is
now. When I tell you, he has so many more videos on Instagram, TikTok, everything. This man has even walked in the Paris fashion show, I think last week. So right now he is blowing up. Shade Room has featured him. He's on a few other pages now. And when I tell you some of the looks that he does anime looks. He did a Marvel villains look. He does some of everything. Y'all definitely check this guy out. I'm going to get his name because I can't remember what it is. So y'all give me a second and I get it. So y'all can go check him out.
He clean. I like it.
I like him. I think, you know what I like about TikTok? And, you know, those basically for me, it's TikTok right now, but Instagram did the same thing. And Twitter at one point was doing the same thing as well, where these kids have their ability. And I can't say these kids because even I've seen older people like my age group and beyond. 30
it's good of you to accept that, Rebecca.
We've hopped on to the TikTok, and I like to see that a lot of people's dreams who could not because of what they look like or because the places that they applied for didn't see them as qualified. They get on TikTok, they do their thing, and boom. They're seen by way more of a bigger audience and granted so many more opportunities almost overnight because they were like, I'll just show my passion, for myself, my skills over here. So I like to see that because maybe, you know, he's been sketching and he's been into fashion for a minute and he just put his stuff on TikTok and look where it's gotten him. So I like to see that.
And it is at WizDM, WISDM. Wisdom K is his name. Check him out, because when I tell y'all he got some more looks on there, it's just like, bro, it's like the retro look meets, like, it's a modern retro look, and it's everything is epic.
I love that first one. The white, believe it or not, the white slacks with the color. I love that, all of it. That's fine.
That's his regular. That's just him.
Yeah, that Doctor Strange one was off the chain. I love that Doctor Strange one. I'm like, bro, I need to do that.
Yes, the trench was giving.
Yeah,
I like the Iron Man. The Iron Man is dope too. But then I think the Black Panther.
Wait, what's this one?
Black Panther. It looks more like
Black Panther.
Neo.
Yeah.
Oh, because I love a man in all black. I love.
And you
Let
say
me
this
tell
is
you
just
something.
him on a Saturday morning. That's how
all black and a turtleneck gives you a lot of power. And I told you guys, turtleneck gives you power.
It does.
Period. But all black and a turtleneck, baby, it gives you and then with that brown skin against that, it's brown beautiful. Skin.
That's what I think I'm gonna give next week at this photo shoot. Let me get my black turtleneck for Rebecca.
Look, we need to all come on with the black turtleneck.
Oh yeah,
and real Black Panther on this.
Okay. Don't try to maybe get a black beret. Put that shit on. Okay, what's up?
Let's do it.
No, we should definitely do an all black thing. Yeah.
So let me see, Alexa, when is Halloween?
Next week.
Okay, so I was gonna say we could do the show, and I want us all to dress in Black Panther, just all black on the show. But that would have to be on the 28th because we're not gonna do it. Are we doing the show on the 29th? In the morning?
It's in the daytime we may not because we're going to be, we're trying to all convene here into Atlanta. So we'll keep you guys posted. But we're doing a patron party next Friday night.
Yeah. So on the 28th, I want all of us to dress in all black, and you have to have a turtleneck on, and it has to be your best Black Panther like look. And I'm talking about not Black Panther the movie. I'm talking about like a Black Panther.
The Black Panther
party for self-defense. Yeah.
Yeah, let me go to Party City and let me see if they got them things where the bullets. You put the bullets in them things.
I can't stand you.
Things are called.
Now I need to go get some black leather.
You know what's bad? You know what's bad, James, is that I actually called Rebecca for advice. That's what's wrong with me. I be on the phone. I've been at the beach, and Rebecca just been coaching me. She's like, Ben, you got this. You could do this. Da da da. And I'm listening to her this morning, like, wait a minute, maybe I don't have this. Maybe I need to reconsider.
I'm off my
taking
rocker.
Rebecca's
Don't
advice.
listen to me right now because I'm not. My wires are a little off. I am. When I say I am tired, I am exhausted, but. I have to be grateful. I have to be grateful to Jesus for another day. I have to be grateful that I have this opportunity.
She's so sanctified, bro.
I have to be grateful that there is still income coming into my account. I have to be
Hello, somebody.
Hello, somebody.
I'm
Matter
tired.
Of fact, I got to write some invoices. Let's get off the air so I can submit invoices. No,
we got 7 minutes.
We got 7 minutes.
Y'all want to do? We got 2 more clips left as well too. AP3, AP4.
I'm trying to get to the beach.
We could celebrate a WNBA grade too if you want.
Okay. God damn it, David! Always trying to be on task. Go ahead. What we got?
Well, now you put me in. See now.
Dwayne, just do AP3 or AP4. Dwayne, hell.
Yeah, rock the after party clips first.
David is funny.
You're so unprofessional.
Oh yeah, this
come here, baby. Yes, you. What? Your name ain't Frank. Well, you built like a hot dog. Come here. Damn, baby, smile more. Damn, why you got an attitude? And pull your pants up. I'm saying if you was with me though, you wouldn't be driving a Honda, okay? What? Because I'm a boss. Yeah, I got my own business. Yeah. Man, get the hell out of here. Your broke ass. Yeah, you look good, but can you fix a car though? Change your tire. Man, ain't nobody talking about no tire. Can you fix an alternator? My whole engine need to be redone. Man, get the hell out of here. But are you bald though? Take your hat off. Cause I only date men with real hair, okay? I don't do not that scalp.
I feel attacked.
Let me tell you something. When I watched that before I dropped it, I said, dang, listening to it from the outside. No, being the person providing that now to see what that feels like. I'm like, dang, dude, y'all really talk to like everything she said is everything that a woman has experienced, I promise you, from a man's mouth, especially when he's rejected. Now, and especially I love when she said this, I like a man with real hair, not a man, you got hair under that head, because I like a man to wear or look a certain kind of way, not a man with just scalp. That was my favorite part, because it's a reminder how men be like,
I was good until she got to that part.
Me too.
I like a woman when a woman wears this. I like when a woman is this.
Subliminal shots.
I just
the entire ball and to the entire bald crew.
All 4 y'all dudes ain't got no
like all of us, so we already know that. Well, I mean, I was already.
That's because every time in your life that y'all did a woman wrong, God pushed that hairline back an inch. So
I ain't never did no woman wrong. She did me wrong, goddamn it. She had a baby by somebody else, so that she ain't have a hair like I did wrong. My hairline just naturally fell out. Talking about my brother.
For every man you did wrong too, Bubba.
Oh, I don't do people wrong. They do me wrong. Don't get me started.
Ooh, Lord, wait a minute. No, I'm trying to leave. We got 4 minutes now. We just got to hold it together for 4 minutes. Without losing it.
Dwayne, you be the one saying that you was a fast little boy back in the day.
I can still grow hair though. I can still grow hair. Give me.
Exactly
you know what? You talking that trash? Give me a couple months. I'm about to pop out with a. You know what I mean? Just wait.
With a baby. With
a George.
Give me a couple weeks. I have a dark season. Get out of here. Dark season will wait.
I got the George Jefferson.
Uh-oh.
You let me give me a
Not
couple
the dark
weeks.
season.
I'm George Jefferson.
Dwayne said he gonna come through looking real light skinned on y'all. What the season with the
Yeah, Rebecca keep playing with me. I'm gonna come out with Al B. Shore. Don't mess with me, girl. I can grow my hair.
Not the Al B. Shore. You talking about the Al Green in Congress?
I don't need to go that far. I don't need to go that far.
No. She clarified. She said it's the Al Green in Congress, not Reverend Al Green.
All right.
With
Deep
the
breath.
shag.
Deep breath and drop AP4. Good question.
Oh man, I gotta. It's. We got 3 minutes. Run AP4 like the white man told us.
You can get this question right, then you get $10,000 right here in cash. Are you ready?
They bring right there.
Yes, $10,000. Ready?
I'm ready.
I bet. So your mom got 4 kids, North, South, and East. What's the last one's name?
West, East. You so damn stupid.
Your mom has 4 kids, North, South, and East. What's the last one's name? Think.
West.
It's not West. The answer is your name.
My name West.
Your name's what?
My name is West.
Your name's West?
Wait a damn minute.
Wait a goddamn minute.
I don't believe you.
I did not see
Your name is not West. Your name is not West.
What's my name?
West.
Come here.
West.
What's my name?
Yeah.
Let me get it about
Your name's
you.
West?
Let me get it about
Your
you.
name.
Let me get that off you.
Yes. I love that you had somebody on the side. What's my name?
West.
I will be down for my. No, let me tell you. I will be down for my man too, baby. We getting that $10,000. What's his name? His name is Wes.
His name is Reginald. His real name is Reginald.
His name is Reggie. Know your goddamn name, being.
This is how. See, y'all can't try black couples. Black couples, we on one accord. We got some money on the table. We gonna lie for each other.
We sticking together.
We sticking together.
Best part of this video.
I don't believe you. Your name is not West. Your name is not West.
What's my name?
West.
Come here. What's my name? Let me get that about you.
Let me get that
off you. My name West. My name West.
Get that up off you.
He said, "Let me get about off you."
Oh man.
He's like, let me get that up off you.
Oh man, that's good. But I chances are his name really is West. That's the truth about it. But his girl came in and said
Wesley, right? Wesley. He called me Wes for short. WES.
Wesley Crusher, it's all kind of things he could be. Anyway, folks, I got nothing else. It's Friday. Ain't got no job. Ain't got nothing to do. What y'all got going on?
No, you ain't got no job. Well, praise the Lord for that. Because now I
got 2 jobs that I gotta go work right now.
And I wish I was a stripper because I would work today and make a lot of money and not have to work for the rest of the week. Now, me and my girlfriend were talking this morning, right? And I was like, girl, I wish I was, let me just go work for Magic City, but Magic City won't take me because, little bodies, little booties, I don't think they matter. I don't think they matter at the Magic City. I got to go down to the Cheetahs in Palm Beach. Little booties with, regular bodies matter. So I told her,
Cheetah in Atlanta.
I can't even get to the top of the pole. I'm going to just have to be doing like rolling around the pole and then with one little hand. You got one leg that
I hate you.
Where you see, honey. You're going to get this straight adjacent leg.
Hey, Rebecca, just go to Claremont Lounge.
She going to be doing the Amaria.
Claremont Lounge will take both of us. You know what Claremont Lounge is, right?
What is it called?
The Claremont Lounge.
No.
That's where the old strippers go to die at. They girl there with bullet holes and stab wounds. Girl be sitting around the pole, sagging boobies and everything. Sagging kitty cats and no. Let me
wait a second. I wouldn't be an old stripper though. I might have to go to where the white folks, like a little bit of little booty. Where the white girls like, that's where I'm going. Because they're gonna think all the tricks that I'm doing is amazing. So I'm just gonna go down to where they were. I need to make some money.
You saying you're going where you can stand out? You said.
That's why I say go to Claremont Lounge, girl. They're gonna see you. They're gonna be like, oh, wait a minute. Rebecca,
this exotic. Where did this exotic queen come from? We have the white men in there talking like hoteps. My white queen, my black queen. My black sister. Come over here and do something strange for a little change.
I'm gonna move my leg a little bit. It got a little jiggle in it. What's up? What you saying?
I can just go jiggle my arm fat. Damn, all that boom is jiggling.
Anyways, let me go. Think about my stripper dreams and log into the shop. I love you guys. Love you guys so much.
You mean it.
I got to go DJ for the kids. I got to DJ for a cancer walk at 1:00. So I'm just it's only for an hour, but I'm going to DJ for it. So while working at the same time. So I'm just doing multiple jobs.
We got to do what we got to do, baby. It's our
I'm
version
tired,
of
boss.
stripping.
Way to multitask, man.
Man, what? I got to go make these donuts. I got to go clean this pole. I got to do everything. Damn, it's just too much. Y'all free to give us a fee. I'm sick of these chains that bind me to this damn corporate job.
Because I don't want to strip.
In the name.
Okay. I'm sick of sinking my ass in little quarters.
Hey, they making it rain with nickels. They
ain't rain. They're making a thunderstorm.
That's hell. They got a hailstorm. James
bring a bag of nickels to the club every time they see me, and they just toss them up there, and they just.
James walking off with a concussion.
Damn, you all right, Sonny?
Hey, what's that football injury?
Like, what you talking about? I only do usher bucks.
Not Sonic,
don't
though.
throw anything at me.
Rebecca, you say you only do usher bucks? I mean, what they take that at? What they take that at? Because apparently Usher ain't gonna take it with all these damn kids he got. Let me stop.
Oh man,
these are my confessions.
Rebecca, you have a great time doing the Amarion challenge at the club, at strip club. James.
Bye. Love you guys.
Get off my screen. All right, y'all. I ain't staying on long. I ain't staying on it all because I gotta go get ready for this event. Then I gotta go to work. And I gotta do all this other shit. Love y'all. Meeting. We will see y'all on Monday morning. Good morning, everybody. Enjoy your day. Go be great. Have fun. Enjoy your weekend as well too. We'll see y'all Monday. Deuces. Throw your hands up.